Have you ever seen a team just short circuit? Not just lose, but completely unravel in front of your eyes? That's what it felt like watching the Arizona Cardinals walk into Lumen Field.
It was less of a football game and more of a public demolition, Joe. We knew the Seahawks were favorites, sitting pretty atop the NFC West at 6-2, but a 44-22 final score doesn't even begin to tell the story of the carnage.
Carnage is the right word. Let's lay out the brutal facts. The Seahawks dropped 38 points on the Cardinals in the first half alone. Think about that. That's the most points Arizona has allowed in a first half since 1958. We're talking Eisenhower administration levels of bad.
And it wasn't just the offense. The key to this collapse, the real heart of the story, was on the other side of the ball. Seattle's defense, led by a truly monstrous performance from DeMarcus Lawrence, didn't just stop the Cardinals, they actively dismantled them. Lawrence had 2 strip sacks on quarterback Jacoby Brissett that he returned for touchdowns.
2 scoop and scores by a defensive tackle? It's the kind of thing you see in a video game when you've turned the difficulty way down. The Cardinals' offense was DOA. They went into halftime with a mere 75 total yards. Their franchise quarterback, Kyler Murray, was on injured reserve, and Jacoby Brissett, who had been playing efficiently, was thrown to the wolves.
And that's where the human story really emerges. You have to feel for Jacoby Brissett. Here's a guy who has stepped in and, by most accounts, steadied the ship for Arizona. He had a 103.1 passer rating in his first 3 starts. He was supposed to be the calm hand on the tiller.
Instead, he was the lead actor in a disaster film. The offensive line, which had shown some promise, completely disintegrated. They couldn't open any lanes for the run game, and Brissett was under siege from the jump.
This is where we get into the deep analysis. Was this just a bad day at the office, or did Seattle expose a fundamental flaw in the Cardinals' construction? Jonathan Gannon, the Cardinals' head coach, said before the game that Seattle had the best defense they've played all year. Was that coach speak, or did he see this coming?
I think he knew they were in for a fight, but not a public execution. What if Kyler Murray had been healthy? Does his mobility negate some of that pass rush? Seattle has historically dominated Murray, sacking him 13 times in their last 3 meetings. So maybe the outcome isn't drastically different, but the way they lost might have been.
That's a fascinating what if. But let's look at Seattle's side of the equation. Sam Darnold is playing at an MVP level. He leads the league in yards per attempt, and they just added another speed demon in Rashid Shaheed. This wasn't just a Cardinals failure, it was a Seahawks Masterclass. They smelled blood in the water with Arizona's injuries, especially at cornerback, and they attacked relentlessly.
Absolutely. The Cardinals were without their top 2 cornerbacks, Will Johnson and Max Melton. You can't go into that loud, hostile environment in Seattle with rookie corners and expect to contain the likes of Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp. It was a strategic mismatch of epic proportions.
So what's the takeaway here? For Seattle, it's a clear statement. They are a legitimate Super Bowl contender with a balanced, ferocious team. For Arizona, this is a moment of soul-searching. It was a historic collapse that raises serious questions about their resilience and the direction of the franchise.
It's a gut check. One game doesn't define a season, but a beatdown of this magnitude leaves scars. It goes beyond the X's and O's. It's about identity. Do they bounce back from this, or is this the moment their season truly broke?
And for Jacoby Brissett, it's a brutal reminder of how quickly the narrative can flip in the NFL. One week, you're the steady hand. The next, you're the centerpiece of a historic meltdown.
It's a cruel business. Cruel indeed. The Emerald City was rocking, but for the Arizona Cardinals, it was a house of horrors. A complete system failure that they'll be replaying in their minds for a long, long time.
This podcast combines verified reports with expert analysis and narrative storytelling. Some dialogues may be dramatized for clarity, but all facts are sourced from credible media.